In 2009, Joe Rogan decided to film a podcast on a random day in the middle of December, which just featured him and his buddies goofing around with about 100 people tuning in. Today, 13 years later, it's one of the most popular podcasts in the world and the biggest source of income, feeding Joe's $100 million year salary. Welcome to the AF Empire channel, where we focus on influencers, stars, and famous people. If you're interested in this kind of content, then this channel is for you. Make sure to like this video, click on the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to keep you updated on our recent uploads. Now let's get right into the life of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is one of the most prominent personalities in popular culture today. And while it is common knowledge that Joe is a smart and successful man, few people know just how wealthy he really is. Over the years, Joe has dabbled in various professions in sports and entertainment and has given his all to each one. Because of that, today he has multiple sources of income that make him an estimated $110,520,000 per year. Joe's first primary source of income is his commentating contract with the UFC, from which he makes roughly $2 million a year. The UFC expert entered the world of mixed martial arts as a young boy in his early teens. Being a small and skinny kid, Joe was bullied in school and hence indulged in mixed martial arts to protect himself. In his own words, Joe has said that he learned hand-to-hand combat because he was terrified of being a loser. Joe took up karate at 14 years old and taekwondo a year later. He did well in the profession, winning the U.S. Open Championship Taekwondo tournament as a lightweight at 19 years old, and then becoming a Massachusetts full-contact state champion for 4 consecutive years. However, when Joe began experiencing strange headaches, he realized the downsides of the profession and chose his health, retiring at the age of 21. However, Joe still loved martial arts, and when the opportunity to commentate for UFC arrived in 1997, he jumped at it, even agreeing to do the first 12 shows free of cost. Today, Joe's commentary and post-match interviews are a beloved part of every UFC event, and because of it, Joe is paid roughly $50,000 for every UFC event he covers. With almost 40 UFC events happening every year, that adds up to about $2 million a year. Another major contribution to Joe's yearly salary comes from his stand-up comedy.
Doing all right? Yeah. Life's going pretty cool right now, but I gotta stop dating bimbos. It's like the biggest problem I have in my life right now. So I date too many bimbos. Bimbos are good to date every now and then because they're low maintenance, right? If you date smart women, they ask tough questions. You got to give them real answers, right? Date bimbos, they ask like real easy questions. You can tell them anything, right? They're like, what are you thinking about?
Joe has been doing comedy on the side ever since he was 21. However, today it is much more than a side hustle. In fact, it is estimated that Joe makes up to $20 million a year from doing stand-up. Joe first began doing stand-up at 21, when his friends at the gym and his students at a taekwondo school told him that he was hilarious and had a knack for it. Joe wrote and practiced material for 6 months before doing his first stand-up routine, in August of 1998, at an open mic night at Stitch's Comedy Club in Boston. 3 years later, at an open mic night, he meets his now manager, who convinces him to move to New York City, and by 26, Joe is paying his bills with comedy. Before the COVID-19 pandemic struck, Joe was doing about 4 venues a month in theaters all over the country. During his tours, the average theater he performed had a capacity of 15,000 seats, and he generally sold out around 80% of the capacity. Tickets for his shows cost anywhere between $40 and $120. Furthermore, Joe has released 6 comedy specials, some of them with Netflix, and it is estimated that he got paid around $5 million for his biggest Netflix special, Strange Times.
I have kids and I lie to them. I get high around them too. People say you shouldn't do that, but they don't see it. They say you shouldn't be intoxicated around your children. Well, I'm not. I'm high. I call it elevated. It's a different thing. The people who have a problem with that, they don't understand what getting high is. Like, they think you're gonna be like to your kid, like, who are you?
Do the math on all that, and Joe easily rakes in $20 million or more from comedy in a year. But now, we get to the big gun, the Joe Rogan Experience. Joe's podcast is without a doubt one of the best, if not the best podcast on the internet right now. Joe's genuine curiosity and in turn his ability to engage in scintillating conversations with guests from a wide variety of fields is what makes his podcast one of the most watched. His straightforward and no BS style of conversation and questioning makes him an incredible host and allows him to get the most out of his guests. He's had scientists, athletes, professors of humanities, conspiracy theorists, comedians, actors, directors, and many other personalities on his podcast.
And then she's like, sometimes it gets too heavy, so I have to transfer buckets.
Christ, bro, I can't do this.
Yo.
Hold on.
I can't do this.
Look at that,
Oh
dude.
my God,
Her
dude,
food.
shut the fuck up.
She lives in a shit house.
Look at that.
Full shit house.
That's so insane.
Look at that shit everywhere, dude.
Oh my God, I'm gonna throw up.
As a result of the success of his podcast, Joe has managed to make a 3-year deal with Spotify where he would be paid $100 million and his podcast would stream exclusively on Spotify and no other audio platform. Hence, Joe is being paid somewhere in the vicinity of $30 million a year for just having his podcast on Spotify. Joe also has video versions of his podcast and small video clips from podcasts on YouTube, which rake in roughly 130 million views every month, which means AdSense revenue, and a lot of it. If you do the math, Joe makes roughly $520,000 per month from YouTube AdSense, which is about $6.24 million per year. And if that wasn't enough, Joe's podcasts are always sponsored by different brands, which pay him an estimated $48 million a year. And yet, despite all that, there is another little-known source of income in Joe's arsenal, and that is his 50% ownership of the health and wellness brand Onnit. Joe partners with Aubrey Marcus to run the company, which originally became popular for its own kettlebell designs. He acts as the face of the brand and brings value to the company by marketing it to his audience, while Aubrey handles more of the day-to-day operations. It is estimated that Joe takes home an easy $2 million from the company's revenue every year. For more scoop on other famous YouTubers, subscribe to our AF Empire channel. See you guys next time.